So here we are in Peterborough's grand Cathedral Square. If I turn around slowly so you don't get dizzy, you'll be able to see a part of this wonderful cathedral, and just behind me is the Guildhall. So we're here in order to hand out these leaflets, which because it's in reverse you won't be able to read, but they say take back democracy on one side, and on the other they say protect our freedoms. Now, why are we here? Well, those who follow my posts will be aware it is because we believe, in fact we know, all the evidence is there, that over the past 3 years the British state has removed from the free sovereign citizens of this nation many of our God-given, natural law ordained, constitutionally provided for freedoms. And the sad thing is that a great many British people, and quite a lot of people who claim to be followers of Jesus, actually, people who go to churches on a Sunday, aren't aware of what has happened. So it's important that all of those who are aware of this, who have woken up, begin to help others to wake up as well. So here we are in a situation now where the government has already inflicted huge losses upon the British people by locking us down unlawfully. There was no authority in law, and under our constitution, under our natural law, which is what the Creator gave us, and under our common law, which is the law of the land, no authority whatsoever for anybody to lock us down. As free sovereign citizens, there's one thing that people cannot do unless you actually do harm to other people, and that is to lock you down, to impede your free progress and free association with others. So that's just one of many egregious acts that have been undertaken by this state. And we need, the people of this nation need to understand that we are free citizens, we are free people. You were born free. You were not given that as a right by anybody. You were given it as an inalienable right by the Creator. It's protected in natural law, in the common law, and in our constitution. The awful thing is that most people do not know that we have these freedoms. And so, for example, the intention of the government through the online safety bill, which is apparently there in order to protect children from harm online, actually has slipped into it a clause that will prevent us from freely disagreeing with anything that the state says. Now, we know that is part of a totalitarian approach to governing people, and it's completely unacceptable. So that's one important thing. On this question of the protection of children, ask your schools, your education authority, for the materials that are being used for relationships and sexuality education, RSE. This is a damning indictment on the state of morality in our nation, that we are now teaching children as young as 3 how to touch themselves. And this is because there are people in high places who want to have sex with children, who want to legalize pedophilia. This is grooming of children. This is abuse of children, and it needs to stop, and we need to call it out for what it is. The reality is that the issues around Jimmy Savile were just the tip of the iceberg. There are many others. You may be aware that recently David Curtin, the leader of the Heritage Party, which is the only party in this nation that's likely to present any kind of hope for the future, a return to our true values as a sovereign nation. He was talking about the thing that you cannot talk about, the grooming gangs in parts of our nation. 50,000 children, young girls, white girls mainly, but mainly perhaps some Sikhs as well, he says, have been abused over many years. And we're talking, if 50,000 girls were abused, we're talking about many more men than that who were involved in those actions. And so we need our government to take the appropriate action. What about cash? We're here to tell people that we need to protect our cash. Lose cash, you lose your freedom. Because under those arrangements, it's a bit like another totalitarian state where the government is able to dictate where you go, what you spend it on, depending on whether you have earned enough of their favor, their social credits. Friends, we don't want that in Britain. And what about these 15-minute lockdown cities? Under the guise of climate alarmism, don't believe that hoax either. The world is not coming to a sudden end as a result of what human beings are doing on the face of it. What could happen and what has happened is people's lives have come to a sudden and disastrous end because of the lies and the hoaxes that have been perpetrated on humanity. So we don't want to be locked down in our homes or in our cities. We don't want a war on the car. We are aware that the so-called green energy policies are nothing other than a cover-up in order to give elites, people in power, freedom to do whatever they want. So there's a lot more as well, and we've recently heard that there is an intention to introduce something from mRNA into VACCINES to cattle, which means that your food may be infected with those disastrous substances that have been injected into people's bodies and have caused numerous excess deaths. So while we're here, we are here as volunteers, mothers, fathers, grandparents, in order to save the future, your future. So please come and join us. Go to #Together, the togetherdeclaration.org, and also join the Heritage Party. We're here for the people.